Guys, and welcome. My name is Keisha, and welcome to my new show called Conversations with Keisha, where we have conversations that matter. And today I have a special guest. She is the one and only Carla Youngblood out of Birmingham, Alabama. She is my mentor, she is my coach, well, one of several. However, she is going to be working with us today to help us get our money in order. And especially in this new administration, but that's beside the point. She's been in the financial industry for well over 3 decades. She's a certified public accountant. She's a comedian. She's a motivational speaker. She's an author. She's a breast cancer survivor. She's a mentor, a coach, and most of all, she's a proud grandmother. And today she is going to bless us with her presence, her knowledge, as well as her wealth of skill set in the financial industry. And without further ado, I'm just going to let Carla say hello to you guys.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Keisha, for having me on this show. If I must say, as a mentor, it is awesome to have such a mentee with your stamina, your driven goals, the way you do things.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Carla. I certainly appreciate it. Okay, so I don't want to waste any time. I want to just go ahead and jump right into it.
Okay.
Since you have been in the financial industry for 30 years, can you tell, and you've been balancing budgets, you work for federal banks, you work for hospitals, you work for nonprofit organizations, you work for business owners, and it's safe to say that fortunately we have a money expert. Let's first begin with what exactly is an accountant and what is the role of an accountant and why is it important?
Thank you. First of all, I like to say, and I tried to get my son to become an accountant because I say every business needs an accountant. And an accountant is someone who's going to account for your money. And I meet some people, especially small business owners, they say, I don't need anybody to count my money. And I said, no, we don't necessarily count your money. We account for it. It's someone who's going to help you understand what's coming in and exactly what's going out. And once you do that, an accountant can help you increase your revenue by teaching you ways to cut your expenses or talking to you ways about how to increase that revenue based on the numbers. So that's what an accountant does. They're going to help you stay on track with your revenue so you can stay in business. Because I will say, at least 35% of businesses go out of business, not because they don't know they're actually business, they don't know how to account for their business. And that's keeping up with what's coming in, but most importantly, what's going out.
Oh, wow. That's so great to know. That's some good information, Miss Carla. So, in your opinion, what are some misconceptions that people may have about accountants? Because it's tax season and people are just, I'm going to my tax lady, but your tax lady, she don't have an accounting degree. I'm not saying that she got to have an accounting degree. So what's some misconceptions that we have about accountants?
And what I would do, I'm gonna kind of combine it in based on what you said about taxes. An accountant is someone that's gonna be with you not just for a season or not just for one day to come in and get something done to run through your books. An accountant is someone that's going to walk you through exactly what it is you're charging, exactly what it is it costs for whatever your business is. If you're a speaker, if you have a product that you're making, or whatever your service is. An accountant can look at it and understand what it is that it's costing you to actually produce that service or that product and help you come up with a good number so you can actually make money. And they're also, like I said, in looking at seeing what it costs you, that's verifying what your expenses are. Because I tell you, I've talked to some people who've got a small business, and one of the ways that I was able to easily help them make money was for them to just understand how their expenses look. They didn't realize, rather than them buying in bulk, They was going to the store every other day to pick up product. So their expenses was astronomical. When I got them to understand that if you go and buy in bulk, especially because they took orders, so they knew what they needed to produce for the week. So it was easy to go in, buy in bulk, so they still would have very minimal waste to buy enough to cover what they need for the week and cut those expenses. Because when you go and buy a small pack versus that large, we go to Costco, we can run those numbers up. You run the numbers up, but it comes out better on the other end when you're not going to the store every day. So one of the main misconceptions is they think, let me just get my taxes done. That's what all an accountant does taxes. Now, a good accountant, they're going to keep up with your books all year long, and they will be telling you different tips and tricks that you can do to minimize your taxes. So that way, when the end of the year comes and it's time to actually file, you don't have to worry about how much I'm going to have to owe, waiting until the last minute to file because I got to figure out how to get my money balanced. That's someone that's going to walk with you all year, looking at your numbers and prepping you for your taxes. And if your business is really going good, they're going to be the one to tell you, you're going to really make a lot of money this year, which is always a good thing. So they'll be the one still to prep you. So that following year, you don't have to pay taxes. They'll tell you, we need to make a tax payment. Let's make deposits. So at the year end, you don't have to worry about that big expense hitting you all at once. So a good accountant is going to walk with you day in and day out, a month to month, to keep up with your actual finances, what's coming in, what's going out, making sure if you don't do cash and it's a receivables, they're going to make sure you're collecting your money from the people. So an accountant is going to really make sure that you're pricing your business right, that you're receiving the money in, and you're minimizing your expenses.
Okay. All right. So I have a follow-up question to that. Something you said that stuck out to me. You said business owner several times. Now, I must say, I'm a millennial. So, the way we look at accountants are a little bit different from maybe, I'm also part Gen X too. So, and baby boomer. I'm not that old in the baby boomer generation, but I've been heavily influenced. But I want to look at the business sector for a second, because I noticed that a lot of my generation, even the younger generation as well, have spent a lot of their time online. And you always hear that you need some type of coach, but you never hear that you need an accountant as a business owner. People are just like, okay, you need to start your own business. You need to start your own business. I can, as somebody who has consumed a lot of different types of media, in business content, I have never heard anyone say, well, I'll take that back. I've heard maybe one, maybe two social media strategists that tell you, hey, you need to start a business, that say, hey, you need to get an accountant. So my question is, do you get an accountant before you start your business, or do you get it after you make a certain amount of money? Is there a threshold that you need to reach before I reach out as a business owner to hire you as an accountant? Excuse me.
You really need to reach out right before you start. I'm definitely speaking as an accountant, but you also need an attorney. Now, the attorney don't have to be with you all the whole time, but you need them to make sure that you formalize your business correctly. Some accountants can do that, but definitely knowing that legal realm, the attorney can do that. But you want that accountant because as an accountant, you want to make sure you organize your business, whether it should be an LLC, whether it should be an S Corp. So all of those things, an accountant can help you with as well. And also an accountant is going to make sure you set up all the proper accounts at the various banks that you need. So you need to get in contact with an accountant. And a lot of times, if it's a small business, an accountant, most of a good accountant will understand and work and understand the scale you're on, and they're going to charge based on what's required, of their services from you. So it won't be that astronomical amount as if someone is working for a large corporation. But you need
Okay.
that accountant from the very beginning. That way, you don't have to worry about getting to a hole. Then you get an accountant, then you need them to help you get back on solid ground. You need an accountant that's going to keep up with your books and track you all the way through and help you scale your business.
Okay. So currently, I know several people who are looking to, they already own businesses, but they're looking to, well, they've had businesses in the past. And
Okay.
so they're venturing off into new businesses. And would you say that any business, or it's going to be a small business, but would you say that they would need to incorporate having an accountant as part of their budget, as far as, when it's part of their startup cost with their business?
Exactly, because believe it or not, most people say, I don't need to pay, as I said earlier, someone to count my money. You
Mhm.
need an accountant to help you account for it, because that person is going to help you start off from the very beginning in pricing your service or pricing your product. So really, if you get the right accountant, they're really paying for themselves based on the savings that they're going to create within your life. So you
Okay.
really need an accountant from the beginning. So when you say I'm gonna start a business and I'm gonna rent this building, just like you're counting in that rent, you need to figure out, okay, I need me a bookkeeper, I need an accountant, someone that's gonna help me account for it and put that in as part of your startup costs.
So, in I heard bookkeeper. So would it be cheaper to hire a bookkeeper, or are the bookkeeper and the accountant the same thing, or how does that work?
Well, an accountant is someone that's an actual degree profession.
Okay.
As a bookkeeper, you can go and get training to be a bookkeeper, but also you can go and get a certain level of training and be a certified bookkeeper. But even in doing that, that bookkeeper is pretty much going to be the one to tell you this how much you had coming in, this how much you had going out. Whereas the accountant, they're able to look at it and say, you got this many expenses going out. Let me show you how to strategize and cut those expenses. That's going to be the difference of having that level of an accountant, because accountants do analysis of your books, analysis of the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. So that's the biggest difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad to know that. So all my business owners, people who are looking to start businesses, she just gave y'all a whole gem, jewel, and a nugget right there for free.
For free.
Okay. Moving on to our next question. I want to kind of change the direction of the conversation just a little bit, but
Okay.
staying on money. I think that in our current times, many people are a little bit fearful. Well, okay, maybe they may be a lot fearful
Right.
about this here looming economic collapse that is projected to take place, or it may be taking place in the US right now. I'm not certain. But with that concern in mind, can you talk about what people should be doing right now as it relates to their finances from your perspective as a certified accountant?
First of all, the first thing they need to do is take inventory. Take inventory of exactly what you have. And when I say inventory, you want to look and see what kind of actual savings do you have, if you have any savings.
Mm-hmm.
Second, you want to look at what kind of debt do you have. Because you want to look at that debt, because this may be the time that you need to consolidate that debt. This may be the time for you to start saying, okay, I'm fluctuating with the debt, but this may be the time to say, you know what, I need to go ahead and pay this debt down while I'm able to. Because in this current climate, a lot of people are losing their jobs, don't know if they're going to have a job. And so because of the instability, you need to take inventory, see exactly what you have, which means your actual money that you actually have in the bank. Take a big inventory, definitely, of your debt, to see how you can figure out how to get that paid off. And then really look at how much you have coming in a month. You'll be amazed at people that go to work every day, get a paycheck every 2 weeks. And if you ask them how much do they actually bring home, they're going to tell you roundabout. They cannot tell you exactly what they're bringing home.
Wow.
Which is just unheard of.
Oh, wow.
It's unheard of. But so many people, in other words, because they're not necessarily looking at exactly how much I got. They're looking to say, I got enough to do this. I got enough to do that. And as long as they got enough to do this, that, and the other, they're just moving. And another reason I said take a good inventory of what you have and what expenses that you have, not just your actual debt. And the debt is something that you've already built up and you owe somebody for it. But people don't even know how many subscriptions they have. You know, they got those commercials that say different organizations can help you get rid of them. We really need to take time and do inventory. And the base of that is get your checking account statement. I know it's online now, but download it, print it, actually look and see what's going in and out of your account. Some people got gym memberships that's been going on for 4 years. They hadn't been to the gym in 3. People got subscriptions, 2 and 3 Hulu accounts because they signed up, thought they got rid of it, signed up again when a new show came on. And so they're not really paying attention to their finances. And people say, oh, that's $7.99, doesn't equal much. But over time, it adds up, especially if you got $7.99 here, $10.99 there, $12.99 there, and we can't watch that much TV. But right now, we need to really take a strong inventory of what we have by first looking, open up your bank accounts, see what's going in and exactly what's going out. You'd be amazed at how many people don't even look at their bank statements every month. They don't look at it. In other words, I have enough to do what I need to do. I got $40, I can run to this, I can $30, I can go do that. So long as there's something there to do what they want to do, they're fine. But they'll be amazed if you just look at that bank account to see what's happening.
Oh my goodness, Miss Carla, you should not be reading my mail right now on the internet. This will be private between us, not us in the world. But yes, I definitely can say I'm surprised that a lot of other people do that as well, because I have a bad habit of spending. I got enough for this. I got enough for that. Let me check my account. Let me see what hit, what hasn't hit, and then I'll wait for a minute to see what came. Okay, yeah, that my insurance came through, my car insurance came out, my life insurance came out. You know, this came, my rent came out. You know, this, that, and the third. So it's like, okay, let me do this and let me do that. You know, you know, oh my goodness, I shouldn't say I'm glad to know I'm not the only person because that's kind of
exactly.
that's kind of bad. But it's like, okay, it's some more people in the boat with me that also may not be focusing on how much actually they have coming in. So I'm glad to know that I'm not the only person that does that, who may not be keeping account of what all is coming in, as long as I got enough money to cover this, that, and the third. So thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Okay, so with that being said, that puts me back to a conversation we just talked about, a topic we just talked about, which is income taxes.
Okay.
Now, there are some people who get their income taxes and some people save it, some people splurge, they go on a little vacation, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Now, I'm not gonna talk about them people and judge them people, because I did that last year. I did. I went on a whole vacation. I paid my little bills, but I went on a whole vacation. Should have been doing other things with that money, like putting it in savings or something. I don't know. But I went on vacation. Now I wish that I would have did something a little bit different with that vacation money, but I enjoy experiences. So what would you say to people who haven't filed their income taxes? Because I have family members that I've talked to here the past few days. Girl, I gotta file my taxes. I'm like, you ain't filed your taxes yet, you know? So yeah, like, what would you say to those who like to get their income taxes and just splurge and do whatever with it, especially with this current climate that we're in?
And that's what I was about to say. In this current climate, definitely right now, you should be taking, if you got an income tax refund coming, taking that money and paying down current debt, as well as making sure you save some. But one of the things that I really want to point out is when you just go and get your taxes done, that's what's happening every year. But if you have an actual accountant, even as an individual, if you went to someone who was an actual accountant, a CPA that was doing your taxes, let's say you got $4,000 back this year. They would tell you, okay, you're getting $4,000 back. What you need to do is stop giving the government a free loan. Because all you're doing, they're getting your money all year long. And then at the end of the year, next year, when you file your taxes, you're getting a refund. So what you really need to do is adjust your taxes. So in other words, your paycheck would be larger every payday versus waiting to the end of the year and getting that. I like to tell people, talk to them and get it balanced just right to where at the end of the year, you only get $100 back. Because otherwise, that's $4,000 that they've had a chance to take and hold on to and make them some interest off it when you could have been getting that money every month yourself. But instead, some of us like to get that big check. But here's the thing, if we're not really fiscally responsible, we get that big check and we just go and have a good time. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with a good time because I'm like you, I love experiences. But when I do the experiences, I plan for it. I've decided this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to make use of the funds. But in the midst of that, that takes me to my key thing when it comes to people and money, a budget.
Ooh, that's a curse word around this part of this neck of the woods. A budget, like, whew. But yeah, like when you say budget, that just it just throws everything out of the window. So many people get intimidated by, the word budgeting or just having to do a budget. And I think that, at least I can speak for myself, budgeting for me has been like, you have to actually sit with your money. You have to actually face this reality that you may not be doing financially as well as you may project that you are doing, or that you may think, or it's also an avoidance tactic as well. I know for myself, I don't want to sit down and look at my money. Like when you and I talked about, Miss Carla, I need to get my finances in order. Like, I like the people who are now going through job loss or being laid off, a lot of government employees and things of that nature. I didn't get laid off, but I did have to come off work for health issues for some time. And here I am left with debt. And so now I had to come to you and like, Miss Carla, I don't know what I got going in. And I don't know, I just knew I had money in my account that was coming in on a regular basis. And I was able to get this. I'm paying this, and this. Okay, girl, we going out to brunch. Okay, come on. You know what I mean?
Let's do
it. So it's like that within itself is just a whole eye opener of how we really, really need to move, not just in this season, but just consistently anyway, and moving according to a budget. But why is budgeting such a bad word? Why is it? Because I when you say budgeting, I hear the word limitation. I don't like limitations.
And believe it or not, a true budget does just the opposite.
Really?
But before I get to that point, I want to go back to where you said, I don't want to face it. What people really need to think about first is their relationship with money.
Okay.
Because the way you handle money, that's a relationship.
Okay.
The way you look at money, and different things in your life may have brought it about. Sometimes it's the way our parents handle money. Sometimes it was the fact that I felt like when I was younger, I didn't have things. Now I'm making my money, I'm gonna do like I want. As long as it's in the bank, I can spend it. So we have to look at one where our relationship with the money was truly developed and identify exactly where we are with it. But then when it comes to a budget, instead of it being limitations, it opened the doors to show what you really can do. Okay, I like going to brunch with my girlfriends. I love a vacation. Some people love to get their nails done every 2 weeks. Now, I know I got certain bills that's gonna come in. So if I really sit down and say, this is the amount of money I have coming in, this is the amount of expenses that's gotta go out, because these are my basic necessities, then it shows me what I have left. Now I can decide, okay, I can get my nails done. It's winter time, so I tell you what, I do my own feet at home. That way I still got money to go to brunch with the girls. You know what? And when we leave, we're gonna do a little winter shopping. So I even have a few dollars left to go and winter shop. But if you haven't sat down and said, this is what I got coming in, this is what has to go out, then we really don't know what's left. Because all you're doing is, and what a lot of people do, is money in the account, I can spend it. Wait a minute, let me see. Yep, my insurance came out, I'm good. We're just making it from week to week, from day to day, to see what's in there and not really account. And so you really have more money than you think, but we're not accounting for it. And Dave Ramsey talks about something called a zero balance budget, meaning every amount of money you have coming in, it's designated to go somewhere.
It has an assignment.
It has an assignment. And that assignment is going out to lunch with the girlfriends. That assignment is a new pair of shoes this month. But we really don't know that it's there to really flow like that, because we're just spending as it comes, spending as it goes, make sure I pay the bill when it's due, rather than accounting for it, looking at those numbers to know what's coming in. Most people couldn't tell you, just like a lot of them can't tell you exactly what they make. They can give you a round figure, but most people really don't know their expenses. And they definitely don't know how much debt they're in, because they don't want to look at it. They don't want to face it.
Don't want to face the reality. And I can say that I would even assume that a lot of people may not even be using their own money when they go out to brunch or go out window shopping. There are a lot of us that are literally, I have done it in the past where I literally was living off my credit cards.
Exactly.
Thankfully, I don't have to do that as much now.
Okay.
I pull it out every now and then. I keep it in the middle section of my wallet for emergency purposes.
Right.
But because I have a better handle on my money, where I don't have to refer to my credit cards as much as I do. But I do believe that a lot of times, you know, a $30 brunch is now probably going to cost some of us $100, because, you know, you may have interest added on to that. You may, Lord, don't forget that you got you know, you got that bill to pay this month, and so now you got a late fee, interest, and the regular balance.
And so now that, like you said, that $30 brunch ended up costing you $100. Whereas had we look at it, and now, because now that's one thing, speaking of credit cards, I will say this first, you got to make sure you're a good steward. You've got to be a good steward with credit cards. But that's one of the things you got some people say, don't ever use credit cards. I'm a firm believer in credit cards. I don't use my debit card for anything. I use my credit card because, one, when a situation happens, the credit card can always help me recoup. If I'm using my debit card and I go to a restaurant and I swipe it for $100 and they charge me $300, it's going to take me a minute to get my regular checking account back in order. If it's a credit card, the credit card, all I got to do is make a phone call. But I'll give you a prime example. Just 2 weeks ago, my brother was in town and I took him to this new place for brunch. The bill was $76.81. My brother likes to tip in cash. I told him, I'm paying the bill. I said, but you do the tip. So I know I put 3 X's in the tip line. In total, $76.81. My credit card alerted me and said, hey, did you leave 100% tip? They charged me $76.81 for the price and $76.81 for the tip. But I didn't even know it because I hadn't checked my statement, but my credit card contacted me. So imagine had that been my checking account and that was my debit card. And if it was balanced to the penny, that could have made everything go off. So that's when I say you got to be responsible with the credit card, but I'm a fan of it. I allow myself so much to spend on the credit card a month. When the bill comes the following month, I pay it off.
Oh, wow. I couldn't imagine. So yeah, you're right about the credit cards. It's so much easier to have that coverage with credit card companies
Yes.
than it is your personal bank, because credit cards, they'll reverse the charge in a minute. Like I've had that happen for me a couple of times. So I definitely can understand that. I There's some of my friends from this exercise group that I'm in, for my exercise group. Um, and some of the older ladies were well seasoned.
Okay, seasoned ladies.
They try to teach us about how to use credit cards in a way in where you're like paying all your bills, you getting points and things of that nature,
Yes,
because they the women in my exercise group, they've accumulated so many points. Sometimes they don't even have to pay that much in travel or pay at all. Sometimes
exactly.
that's how they take their vacations. They take it for free because they're using their credit cards, they're earning points, and they pay it off quickly. So there is no interest and all that kind of stuff. So that's another cool way I learned to use credit cards. I ain't got that good yet because
And just because that's the key, you've got to be disciplined.
yes.
Because if you say, okay, I can pay my insurance on it, oh, that's $200. I can
Mm-hmm.
pay my gas bill, that's $100. I can pay my light bill, that's 75. And at
Mm-hmm.
this point now, you're looking at $400. If you don't leave that money there to pay that, and you go ahead and start using that to do something else, now that's starting to accumulate interest on you. So you've got to be disciplined with that credit card to do that.
Okay. Thank you for that, because that's what I was thinking. Like, whew, you have to be a master discipline to be able to uh just handle your money, period, especially when you're used to just going out here doing how you want to, living how you want to with it. But I want to ask you a different type of question,
Okay.
yet still in the realm of money.
Okay.
Years ago, around 2014, the number one reason for marriages and ending in divorce wasn't because of infidelity. It actually was because of money. And so to me, that was kind of odd, because I was just like, how do you not fight for your relationship? How could you end your relationship over money? But as time has grown and the more things that I have accumulated and worked really hard to gain access to and build on my own,
Mhm.
I understand, like, you don't want somebody to come in and tear down what you have built for yourself. And so I wanted to know if you can speak on why money has the ability to destroy relationships, and why knowing another person's financial habits is very important before you decide to cohabitate with somebody, or kind of take it to the next level and even get married to somebody. Why is that important to know their money habits?
Well, one, I'm gonna go back to the first one. The first things I said earlier was having money. That's a relationship.
Okay.
So the way you handle money, that's a relationship between you and your money.
Mhm.
So that person is also having a relationship with their money. And
Okay.
so it's important to understand their financial habits, because if one is a spender and the other one is a spender, you'll never have anything. You're going to go deeper and deeper into debt. But if one is a spender and the other is a big saver, then you still have to come together and have a meeting of the mind and find that balance.
Mhm.
And that's why a lot of couples do it different ways. But whatever it is, the couples have to say, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. And you've got to be honest about what you're bringing to the table. It doesn't matter who made the most money, the man or the woman. You know, a lot of women be like, girl, if he don't make what I make, I don't want it. Well,
Yeah.
it's not always the case, because 9 times out of 10, he's bringing a lot of other stuff to the table. But the key is to say, what are we both bringing to the table? And the fact that we are honest in bringing it to the table. Because that's where the problem is. You have some women and men who don't want the other one to know what they're making. How can you become one with that big old gap or that big relationship standing between you. And so that creates a huge problem. And the biggest problem with that is called trust. That's the biggest problem with it. I don't trust you with my money. I don't trust you with my finances. And unfortunately, some old school women will say, always keep you something, baby. You never know when you're going to have to leave. I hear that concept and I understand it, but it's a new day. And if you're going to be honest, you've got to decide we're going to have this relationship together and we're going to have a meeting of the minds about our relationship with money. You've got to both bring it to the table, whatever it is. Everybody got to know what's on the table. Now, people identify and deal with it different. I've known couples where they split the bills 50-50. I've known couples that say all the money go in one account. I get an allowance, you get an allowance. So it varies different ways, but the main thing is trust and everybody know how much is on the table.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Without that, that's going to create a problem.
Well, I can tell you, like, I'm like, oh, the way she's saying that, I'm gonna be single for some more time. The way she's saying that, trust. You want me to trust this person to tell this? Oh no. And it's funny that you say that because I feel like that within itself can be a whole topic because then you're looking into you're looking into power dynamics and how and gender roles and how people used to use money as leverage and things of that nature. And then you're looking into learned behaviors, the psychology, that you said, our relationship as it relates to money, because people can only give you what they know, Big Mama and Madea, these older generation people, Papa was a Rolling Stone, and he some of the marriages, they were for the sake of survival. And so I definitely can say that I am one of those people that subscribe to that ideology because that was instilled into me. But it's also important to understand that a lot of what I saw growing up was very toxic and it wasn't healthy. And so I can see where you're coming from. In order to have a sustainable relationship, a healthy relationship, we both have to be honest where we are as it relates to our money and how much we are bringing to the table. So, yeah.
And not only being honest about what's being brought to the table, everybody has to know what's on the table and how it's being managed. Because I do know, I'll just go to TV shows. You see TV shows all the time where the husband died and the wife was like, I don't know nothing. He paid all the bills, and it's fine if he pays all the bills, but you need to know what's going on. Your name needs to be on the bank accounts. You need to understand what's going out and what's coming in. Oh, I don't know what my husband makes. He takes care of me. That's fine, but you need to know. So it doesn't matter who's bringing what to the table, but everybody needs to know what's on the table.
Oh my goodness, I feel like I need a therapy session after this. Okay, I actually want to talk about a very popular topic right now.
Okay.
It kind of may be dying down just a little bit. I don't think it is though, but I'll let you chime in on that.
Okay.
I want to talk about the gig economy. What are your thoughts about the gig economy? And when I say gig economy, I mean like Uber drivers or let me see, we have Uber drivers, we have people who do Grubhub. What are some other gig? But you get what I'm saying when I say the gig economy, right?
Right. I think I do. One, definitely for those examples you gave me, but
so
go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I wanted to. It's like Uber Eats or Grubhub or something like that. Now I know, and even Uber drivers, Lyft drivers. I had friends that actually did that full time, and it was good money at one time. But however, now things are different because when those apps first started, they paid a lot of money and that was to build it up, right? And so now they are not making what they used to make and they're like really struggling right now, right? And so as an accountant, as someone in the area of finance, I wanted to know how you felt about the gig economy or fluctuating income being a long-term plan as your main source of income. How do you feel about that?
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to gigs, it's just that. Today you got a gig, today you may not. Meaning, give an example, as you said, with the Uber Eats and the Uber drivers. Like you said, they had to play it up, so they had to come in at the salaries real high to get people invested in it. But of course, their whole goal was to make corporate money. So they had never intended to keep them at those levels. Now, think about it. It's not costing them any more to keep those apps in place. It's not costing them any more money. So why are they taking more money from the driver? Simply because of greed and they can. So my thing is to say, if you're going to be a gig worker, you've got to really plan out how much time you plan to invest in various gigs. It's like you said, once those numbers come down, I'm gonna just give you an example. I have no idea because I've never done that. But let's just say you was making $1,500 a month, driving 3 days a week. Now you're making $1,000 a month, driving those same 3 days. Then you have to decide, is this something that I want to keep doing because I like the freedom of doing my own thing? But meaning instead of working 3 days now I've got to work 5 if I want to maintain myself at a certain level. Or do I want to say, I'm going to continue to do this at this level, even though it's decreased, I'm going to find something else to help balance it out. And when it comes to gig working, including somebody who has a full-time job, it all goes back to a plan. What is your plan? What is it that you want out of that gig job? What is it you want? I'll give you another example. I do have a full-time job. I got gigs I do on the side. Very limited accounting, but I do some. Comedy, speaking. So if I decide I want to make $20,000 this year in side gigs, then that tells me how many I need to make sure I set up. So in other words, people have to set a plan, which takes us back to a budget, but they have to make a plan as to what they really want. And then they can determine for themselves, is it really worth me staying in this particular industry as a gig worker? But you have to set a plan as to what you really want out of it. You know, I have some comedian friends that live in Birmingham, and that's all they do is stand-up comedy. So they ripping and running and scraping and every week, which is fine because that's what they want to pursue. Whereas myself, I turned down a lot of gigs because it's not the place I want to be. It's not the type of atmosphere that's conducive to what I'm used to doing or the type of comedy that I bring. But I've set my sights and my goal on how many gigs I need to do if I want to do it. So when you're a gig worker, you've got to set a goal, create a plan to decide. Because like you said, if this is what they're doing with the numbers, you've got to decide, is this going to sustain me? And if I want more, what am I going to do to get more?
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. That brings a lot of enlightenment to me and hopefully to a lot of people who are listening. I guess I'm just, like I said, I'm old school in a lot of ways. And
Okay.
I think my biggest concern would be like healthcare, like insurance. Or, I remember a friend of mine that a doctor said many years ago, like, it's illegal not to have health insurance in the time,
Okay.
in this country, in Western
Right.
cultural period. So I think that's kind of like where my mind always goes,
Exactly. But now, and that's another thing when it comes to planning, because as a single individual, you really need to think about that. But I've known couples, whereas the wife works in a place where she has insurance. The husband had a job. He wasn't on their insurance. They had a baby.
Okay.
And you know what? He was working, and they sat down and they realized, but that's only because they looked at their money. They was paying more money out in daycare than he was making. So he quit the job because now at this point, the baby's old enough to stay at home. The baby can stay at home with him. So what does he do? He does Uber Eats. And the baby is right there with him. So he babysits. He does the Uber Eats, but it's convenient for them because she works. She has the health care, but he has the baby at home. He can do the ABCs when he get ready. He can do the numbers. He can set the time he gonna do the Ubers. Okay, I can't do it during this time. It's time for the baby nap. So when you got a plan, you can make it work for your life. And that's what people have to think about. I'm not doing something just to do it. I've got a plan as to why I'm doing it and the reason.
Okay, that's wisdom right there. That's wisdom. Thank you so much for that. So you basically have to have a goal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So moving on to our next question. Now, recently I'm just going to say the word because usually the algorithm is like really crazy if you mention other platforms.
Okay.
So I'll talk in code and you just figure it out. There was an app that was taken down back here a few weeks ago. You got me? Okay.
Got it.
So a lot of the creators on that platform decided that they were not going to pay their taxes. They was going to protest the GOVT period.
Yep.
By not paying their taxes. Now, as a accountant, as a finance professional, can you talk about the importance of why you need that? If it's one person you want to pay, is Uncle Sam. Like
exactly.
he need to get his money. Can you tell us why it's important to make sure we're paying our taxes?
First of all, it's important to pay your taxes because one, unfortunately, that's just the way it's set up. And if you're going to follow the rules, that's part of the rules. But the main reason is if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to penalize you. They're going to continue to tack on fees. And once they get in your pocket, it takes forever to get out. And then you decide, oh, I got this fabulous job and this is what I'm doing. Guess what they can do? Attached to that, and automatically they send it to your new job. They've got to take that money out and send it to them. So it's not like you can say, well, I'll pay them when I get ready. At this point, that meaning I'm going to be forever withholding myself back because the minute I go do something and it's going to have I'm going to have to continue at this point to figure out how to remain some form of a gig worker where I'm getting paid in cash or somebody's writing me a check that's not reporting it to the IRS because they not only, okay, fine. I'm just going to be a gig worker for the rest of my life so Uncle Sam doesn't get the money. Oh, but then you decide to go and buy you a house. Guess who knows you just bought that house? And guess what they're going to do? Put a lien on that house. So that's not really a good way to get around it. And then again, you know what? I decide I want to go to school, so I'm going to just go and get me a student loan. I'm denied. Why? What? So you tell me I can't get a loan to go to school because I owe? So it has an effect on your life. And so it's best to go ahead and file, pay your taxes. Takes me back to the very beginning of the conversation. But if you get you a good accountant, they can balance your life out where you really don't owe any taxes unless you're making a lot of money. But even if you're making a lot of money, they can dwindle that tax fee down to little or nothing in a legal way. So you're not paying taxes, but you got to pay that accountant to walk you through it because the average person just wouldn't know all the deductions that they could actually take and things that they could do to avoid having to pay taxes.
So as an accountant, it sounds as if you all are required to know these tax laws.
Now, I'm not a tax accountant, so because you got some accountants that's just focused, that's all they do is tax. So they have to know all the tax laws.
Okay.
I'm not a tax accountant, But because I am an accountant, I keep up with a lot of the changes.
Okay.
And then the changes that I don't keep up with, birds of a feather flock together. So I get on the phone and call my tax accountant friends and say, hey, what is this? In order to find out the information. But of course, it's always available to me, and information comes to me because I'm an accountant and a CPA. So I get information about the different updates. So the ones that's relevant, I make sure I pay attention to it.
Okay, so speaking of relevancy, a hot button topic right now are tariffs. And we talked a little bit earlier about small businesses.
Yes.
With you having friends that are tax lawyers, can you, I'm sure that they are, they have their ear to the ground. So how is this tax, how are tariffs going to affect small businesses here in America?
It's going to affect, unfortunately, the small businesses, the large businesses, because in other words, if we're going to, let's just say if they decide that the U.S. is going to charge a 25% tax on everything that's coming in from a certain country.
Okay.
Then they go one, okay, fine, if I've got to pay that extra 25%, I'm going to up my price so I can help recoup some of that money when I sell it to the U.S. Now, me, a business owner, I make clothing. I'm having now to pay so much for the material to now you who do t-shirts, you've got to pay more money to buy my t-shirts because I've had to pay more money. And now me, I just want a cute t-shirt as a consumer, and it's going to cost me more because the person who made the t-shirts had to pay more, the person who ordered the t-shirts from out of the country had to pay more, and the person in the other country had those tariffs attacked. And so that made the price go up on everybody involved. So all consumers, unfortunately, and businesses will feel the effects of it. And I give you an example of one, because they started talking about the tariffs soon as they got in office. This company who normally gives their staff, they are a manufacturing company. They normally give their staff a Christmas bonus. They called them all in and said there would be no Christmas bonus this year. And they were like, why? Why? And they said, we don't know if the tariffs gonna come in place or not. So we went on and spent our money we had and bought extra product now at a lower price. And since we spent the money to buy it now, you don't get a bonus. So it affected them immediately.
Wow.
Immediately, they felt it because these people said, okay, if the tariffs come in, our price is gonna go up, so let's go ahead and buy a lot of material now while the price is low. And since we spent all our money, now we can't give you a bonus.
Oh, wow.
So it will be felt all the way around.
Okay, so it's going to be felt for the business owners, the consumers, and also the manufacturer companies.
The workers.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So the workers going to feel it on two ends. Now I don't get a bonus, but yet still when I go to buy something, it's going to cost me more money and I need to get a bonus, or I may not get a raise because of it.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
That's powerful. I've been hearing a lot of people that have this sense of not pessimism, but that too, but a sense of fear surrounding that. But I don't know if it's just the mentality or the relationship around money that you have, or it's just because certain people, some of us don't have our emergency stash away, our 6 to 12 months or 6 to 9 months savings that we're supposed to have. I know that's something you and I definitely talked about and have been working to, get that going. But a lot of people are really kind of apprehensive right now. And so I'm glad that you actually gave that example of how tariffs will affect all of us. But in saying that, what kind of solace would you actually, want to share with the viewers about their maybe fear or concern around these increases? price increase?
First of all, I would say fear does nothing for you. Fear does nothing for you. Hope I don't offend anybody, but I gotta go there. But God didn't give us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So, but if you're not a believer, that's okay too. But fear, if you think about it, it's not gonna help you do anything other than bring you anxiety, which is going to eventually affect the body. So what I would say is, here I go again, look at what you have and let's plan. Last time I looked, it was 37% of Americans, all the people in the world, in the United States, don't have $1,000 as an emergency fund, just so if the pipe bursts, you can get that done. We hadn't even talked about 3, 6, or 9 months, just $1,000. So what I would say, don't worry about the fear, because fear will not resolve anything. I would say sit down, look at what you have, and see how do you hold what you have, which means look at your spending. Oh, I know the purse is cute, but you got 7 in the closet and 4 of them are already black. You don't need another black purse. So I would really say, look at what you have and try to think about right now, I'm gonna hold what I have and I'm not gonna do excessive spending. I'm not gonna do excessive spending. We gotta have our food. We gotta go to the movies from time to time. But you know what? You'd be amazed if you call 3 or 4 of your girlfriends over. You popped it in the VCR because now y'all can laugh through the movie. You can pause it. You'll be amazed at how much money you have and how cheap it would be for everybody to come over to the house and do that. So you got to get creative. We've got to really engage in the relationships now, because when you really engage in your relationships, it's easy to minimize your spending. You know, yeah, we're going, got nothing against drinking. Whoever does it, fine. Whoever don't, fine right on. Whether it's drinking sodas or whether it's drinking a bottle of wine, if you go to the store and you buy that one soda out at the club or that one drink, imagine if you said, girl, we're going to get 2 bottles of wine and y'all 3 come over here. And you could do whatever you want and have your fun. So I would just look at not wasting money right now. If it's something you just really don't have to do, don't do it. Oh, that's so cute and it's on sale. Yeah, but how many suits in the closet still have tags on it? So really think about it. And a lot of people say, oh, you just don't want me to spend money. I'm like, I don't want you to, what I want you to do is, because we have so many uncertainties right now, I want you to really think about it and really be in a position to help yourself. So right now, if you're not going to spend, don't. Starting this past January, I went on a no spending.
A lot of people have. A lot of people have
went on no
decided.
Spending, not just because of what I think is going to happen, because we don't know exactly what it's going to be.
We don't, yeah.
But because I looked in the closet and I said, I don't need any shoes. I don't need another sweater. So for that reason, I said I was not going to just go and spend just to stack it up. Because most people, think about yourself, and I want everybody listening to really think about this. You wear 20% of what's in your closet. Think about it.
I believe it.
You got these jeans you just love, and every other week you put on that same pair of jeans. Oh, that skirt fit me good. You wear that same skirt all the time, and you got 17 more skirts in there. But you only wear about 20% of what's in your closet. And so I've made the habit now to where I wish I had a rotating rack in my closet so I could put it in there. But I just got me a starting point, and my goal is just keep going, keep going, keep going. When I want to repeat, that's fine. But that tells me, though, I don't need to buy anything. So monitor your spending right now, but don't let fear paralyze you, because it's not going to do nothing but internally hurt yourself. So don't let fear paralyze you, but pay attention to what you have and what you really don't need. Don't waste your money on it.
It does. You said something earlier. I didn't cut you off, but you said just pop a tape in the VCR. I'm like, oh my God, Miss Carla, we don't have VCRs anymore.
You're right. But you know what? Now it's funny because I make sure I keep at least one VCR just for old stuff But the DVDs, the
I
Blu-rays,
literally have a DVD. I have 2 DVD players
the
because I was like,
DVDs,
yeah,
the Blu-rays. See, in other words, when I
yes,
said the cassette tape, the VCR, y'all know I was
yeah,
telling my age then.
yes, you were. I was like, oh my
I
gosh,
was telling my age then. But
yeah.
get your CDs, the DVDs, get your Blu-rays,
Mm-hmm.
and still, what does it do? Accomplish the mission. But then now,
Yeah,
we ain't have to do all that. We got all these streaming services.
we do.
So what you pay $12.99, $8.99 for the month, pick a good movie that you've seen and invite your friends over to come and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you're not paying anything because you've already paid for the month.
That's true. And I would say it's so crazy because I have access to a lot of streaming because families and friends and stuff share passwords. We just do.
Right? They shouldn't, but they do, and it happens.
Yeah, it definitely happens. But I watch a lot of free apps. Like some of the free apps, a lot of the free streaming apps, they are just as good as the paid apps.
Exactly, like with the Roku TV and the
Oh,
other one,
yeah,
it has so much on there.
it
So I
does.
understand, we want to go to the movies sometimes,
Hmm.
and it's okay to do things like that sometimes. But I just want people to get in the habit of thinking that I don't have to spend money just to have a good time.
Okay.
That's
And
that's the
and,
point.
and before we get ready to close, I want to ask you 2 more questions.
Okay.
I would like for you to tell us what are some, because I am also on a no spend 2025. That's
Okay.
a social media thing. I don't know. It may not. It just may be a.
I was saying, is it a social media thing? Because I didn't know. I just decided,
It,
what, I'm not gonna buy anything until I just need it.
yeah, a lot of people on social media was just
Okay.
like, okay, this overconsumption is just doing a little bit too much. We've been investing money in things. I would pay for something that I could see a return in my investment on, but it
Okay.
has to be worth me investing in it, right?
Okay.
However, I'm not trying to spend any money. So, can you, in your opinion, give us maybe some free things that we can do or some cost efficient things that we can do to be able to survive, this challenge of not spending any money in 2025 or just spending less as possible?
Okay, well, one of the things that we just talked about was one with the streaming apps and the free TV. That's something that you can do. But even with paying for the apps, look at how many apps you have. And if you work every day, think about how much you really watch TV. Do you really need 5 apps? One of the things that I tell people to do is turn on Hulu, keep Hulu for 3 months, pause it, turn on Netflix, have on Netflix for 3 months, pause it, do Amazon 3 months, then go back to Hulu. But each time you're only paying for one because what they put on there gonna be on there 3, 6, a whole year anyway. So it's not like you're missing it. And if you're smart, work with your friends, and you don't even have to share password to do that. I have Hulu, you get Amazon, you get Netflix. So when something come on Netflix, we know we're gonna celebrate at your house. If it's on Hulu, we at my house. And so one, you do that with your family and friends. That's one easy, efficient way to do it. Another thing you could do is something we don't do as much as we used to. We're so used to going out to eat. Try cooking a meal at home and invite, if it's your girlfriends over, even if it's date night, invite 2 couples over. If it's your family, invite your family over. And then what you can do is, okay, this is my month, and you come up with a creative dish that you want to do for the family. The following month, you go somewhere else. So now what we're doing, which we need to get back to anyway, is spending more time with people. These little things have got us so disconnected. So if we start doing small things like that to find ways to spend more time together, game night, that is a big one.
I love game night.
Game nights are so much fun. So if you do game nights,
Mm-hmm.
In my neighborhood, we've trying to pull people together more. And so one of the guys has the big screen that you can pull outside.
Oh,
So we do
yeah.
movie night in the neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
And all in all, neighbors got to do is just walk down the street with their lawn chair and we sit outside and just watch the movie together. But figure out more ways to just spend time with people versus I gotta go out and be seen. We're trying to impress people who really don't care. Because all they're gonna do is, oh, that's a cute outfit. And if somebody told them the next day, tell me what they had on, they couldn't tell you. You know, someone can tell you how cute your outfit was. You know, it may be somebody who's a really fashionista who would go, oh my God, that was a so-and-so. That's another thing I would say to stop spending so much money on clothing. When I look at TV, I like to look at what they have on. And I'll go to my closet and say, oh, I think I got a jacket like that. I never thought to match it with that. So I get creative ideas from watching TV. And so rather than going to buy something new, I do mix and match. And it looks like a whole new outfit. So I like to watch TV for that, for outfits. That's another thing to do. And like I said, it's always good to just get a bottle of wine because it's easy to share. Whereas you can go out and you can pay $12 for a glass of wine and you can go and buy 2 bottles for $12 if you want to.
Yeah, but the $12 wine, that give you heartburn.
Well, here's the thing. It depends on what it is. Because I know some wine that you can get that's $4.99. And like they said, smooth wine. Smooth wine.
Okay, well, you gonna have to tell me that off air.
Right, because I would say the name, but they're gonna have to give you some monetize you if I call it.
Right. We not offering no free advertising for no companies.
We ain't doing that, but seriously, when I host certain events, because
I prefer smooth wine
40,
versus
50,
the stronger wine.
That's exactly. They have that. It's $4.99 a bottle.
And
if you buy in cases like I be buying, it's cheaper than that.
Oh, wow.
So we got to figure out ways to spend more time with people versus doing things one alone. Because I remember growing up, my mom, my aunt, my cousin, everybody lived close by. We kind of spread out now. So we need to figure out a reason to get together and spend more time, whether it's with family, friends, even co-workers. For people who work together, it's okay to spend time with your co-workers because you'd be amazed at what you get to know about your co-workers if you spend time. Because people say, oh, I know her, but you really don't know me if we don't spend time together. You have to spend time with somebody to really get to know them. You know of me.
That is so true.
So I think one of the easiest ways is to take inventory of what you have, realize what you need and don't need, and figure out a way to spend more time with family and friends.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. It's so funny you said that. I was saying that the other day that we really need to get back to the place where we are getting back to people. You know, we've gotten accustomed to communicating online, and we're moving in the digital era, but that still doesn't take away from the innate nature of a human being, and that's to be in social settings, traditional social settings. That's how we thrive, we connect, we grow. That helps endorphins get the flowing. When you laugh and be around people and socialize, and a lot of people now are so isolated. My sister has this saying, like, we're more connected, we're connected more than ever, but we're more disconnected, by way of these cell phones and apps and things of that nature. So I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword, but it definitely makes sense that we definitely should get back to spending more time with family and friends. And that really can be done without spending a whole lot of money. So
exactly, because imagine when potlucks, go back to those where everybody bring a dish and see what we come up with.
Well, depending on the potluck, we had this little thing. Who cooked the potato salad? Who cooked this and who cooked that? And it always be the folks that can't cook too good that be wanting to bring the main dish, baby. We want you to bring the paper goods.
That's the thing. You make sure you tell them you get the sodas or the paper goods. Otherwise, no. You just with a smile on your face.
You bring the drinks and the
That's
cookies,
it.
baby. We not gonna let you cook no dishes.
Don't trouble yourself. But you
All
know,
right.
when you said about the phones, I think about it sometimes. When
Mhm.
people, oh, I got to text so-and-so for their birthday.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they thought about me. But imagine what that 2-second phone call would really mean.
Yes.
A huge difference. And
Yeah.
when you're spending time face to face with people,
Mhm.
sometimes you don't know what people are going through.
Mm.
And when you see a friend, what's the first thing you do? You open your arms to greet them. And that
Mhm.
may be the only hug they've had, and we don't know how long.
That's true. I've never thought
So
about it like that. That's true.
you don't know when the last time they had a hug from anybody.
Mm.
So it's those little small things that really makes a big difference. So we don't have to have all the money to make things happen, but we need money in order to live in this world. So we need to just understand what we have and figure out how we're going to get more of it.
It's so funny you say that about hugs. That remind me of the speech I did, "The Power of Hugs." When the
Yes.
when the pandemic got through whooping all us upside our head, I was hugging people I didn't even know. I was just, come here,
Okay.
give me a hug, give me a hug.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was so people deprived. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
It felt good to touch another human being, you know. I mean, I think everybody gonna need a little therapy after
Yeah,
after the pandemic.
exactly.
We
And
all a
so,
little, we all got a little PTSD after the pandemic.
okay, I mean, really and truly. And,
Yeah.
I think the text messages are wonderful for
Mhm.
certain things,
Mhm.
but I think that human connection is just invaluable, and it's going to turn into a lost art if we're not careful.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna make that part of my not New Year's resolution, but I'm going to put that into my collection of new habits that I'm trying to create, and that is instead of texting somebody on their birthday to call them, hey, wishing you a happy birthday, just take them out a couple of minutes. So I'm going to try that. I'm gonna apply that.
And even if I don't get them on the phone, they're going to get that message from me. Hey,
That
girl, I know you're
voicemail.
running around. I just want to wish you a happy birthday
Yeah.
because it takes me just as long to send that text. Where if I just push the button and dial that number. But
Mm-hmm.
another thing, I just said something. I said push the button. I ask you as well as your listening audience, how many telephone numbers do you know?
Ooh.
If you lost your phone, how many people could you call for help?
Well, for me, if you had the same number for a long time, I know your number.
Okay.
If you had the same number for a long time, but off the rip, maybe 6.
Okay.
That's terrible, but 6.
But
But
at least you
funny
could call
enough,
6.
yeah, about 6 or 7. But funny enough, isn't it weird how we can remember our childhood phone numbers, but these cell phone numbers, that's, you know,
You
I
know,
guess because we don't have to dial it, I guess.
exactly. And so still I'm making a habit to dial my numbers.
That's good.
That way it's getting back like as a child. I remember those numbers because of that.
That's good.
Because
How
you
can
lose your phone, how can you call somebody?
you can't
You
you ain't
cannot.
you can call 911.
That's
Hopefully they
it.
don't hopefully they don't change their numbers.
Right. That's funny.
If they change their number, we all gonna be
We're in
messed up.
trouble.
Right.
In
So,
trouble.
but that's a good habit to have. I may try that a time or two as well, and that is to type in the actual phone numbers, because I don't know if it's just that I've been having brain fog, but I
Okay.
had told my doctor, I was like, my memory is not sharp. It's just not
That's
laser
okay.
sharp. Like it has a dullness to it, and so for the past few months, I have been reading a lot more, and I read every single day. I do not go a day without reading an actual traditional book,
Nice.
because I don't know if it's the effect from too much screen time or
Okay.
information overload. I have no idea, but I'm too young to be having memory problems.
Right.
Everybody else be stuck in the past. I be like, what happened now? What you mad about? Girl, you still mad about that? I forgot all about
Well,
that.
see, I moved on.
Yeah. So that's definitely a good habit I may try to incorporate as well. And moving on to our last and final question, I just feel like, oh my goodness, we could talk about money forever. So,
Yes.
but the last and final question: what is one piece of financial advice you wish everyone knew or would choose to incorporate into their daily lives? What is one piece of financial advice, excuse me, you wish everyone knew or would choose to incorporate into their daily lives?
Well, daily, I would go to my main thing that I said up front is taking inventory of your accounts, what you have. Because believe it or not, this sounds real nerdy and not like I got a lot of money, but I check my accounts at least every other day. And here's the reason why. If certain charges come in, you won't know it till a month or two later. But if you're so busy avoiding your money, you don't even know it's happened. It just happens and you're none the wiser. Somebody, because errors happen, people are human. So somebody charged you twice for something, but you wouldn't know it because all you're doing is saying, I got enough to go and do whatever. So if everybody would be honest and take inventory of what you have and stay on top of it and commit to saving. I'd like to challenge everybody out there, starting off who don't have $1,000 in the bank, under your mattress, wherever you have it, to figure out a way to say, I'm going to save $1,000. And I know some people are saying, you don't know my numbers. I don't care what your numbers are. There's a way to put $5 here, $3 there. And when you look and see you got 25, you're motivated. Oh man, if I'm at 25, I can get to 50. When you get to 50, oh, I can get to 200. So being able to see it is motivating. So we have to put our eyes on it, acknowledge our relationship with money, and pay attention to what we have. Because when you know what you have, then you can set a plan to get more.
Well, thank you so much. That was well said. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Miss Carla, for being on today. I hope maybe one day you can come back in the future because I have a million other questions that I would love to ask you as it relates to money. And thank you so much for helping us get a handle on how to move in this new realm and era that we're going into. But before we close out, I want you to tell the listening audience if they would like to hire you for a speaking engagement, if they would like you to join their podcast, if they would like to get help with any of the services that you offer. Can you tell us where we can find you?
Yes, you can go to my website, carlayoungblood.com. You go there, you have all my contact information. You can shoot me an email from there. You can call me from there. You can do that, but you can also follow me just to keep up with some of the things that I'm posting, because sometimes I post about money, I post about various things. You can follow me on Facebook at Carla, The Truth Youngblood, or on Instagram at The Truth, THE Truth, CY, and you can get in touch with me. So if you follow me there, you can book me. I'll be more than happy to come and speak. I would love to be on your podcast. I enjoy sharing about money because there's nothing like financial freedom. It's not a bondage. It really gives you more freedom.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Carla, for joining us tonight. Y'all, this is one of my mentors. Okay, so I have access to some good knowledge, a wealth of knowledge. So definitely check her out and follow her on all of her socials and check out uh, uh, her website as well, carlayoungblood.com, carlayoungblood.com, and make sure that you are following her over on her social so she can help you get your life together too. Like she helped me get mine together. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Carla, and you have a great night tonight.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, there you have it. That was Mrs. Carla Youngblood. Hold on. There you have it, guys. That was Mrs. Carla Youngblood. That is one of my mentors. She is definitely she is definitely she's my speech coach, my speaking coach. She is my financial advisor and all the things. Okay. So definitely make sure that you are going to her website to check her out to get as much information as you possibly can on how to maneuver as a small business, as well as just with your finances. Um, if you need a speaker, if you are hosting an event, if you need a comedian, because she is also a comedian as well. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast, Conversations with Keisha. And I hope that this finds you well and you have a great night or a great day whenever you're watching this. Thank you. Goodbye.